my time and serve my sentence. Dress me up and watch me die. If it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. I'm taking back the crown. I'm all dressed up and naked. I see what's mine and take it.
All right, and we are live. All right, so let me know if you can see and hear me in the comments, and we will get started with this bad boy. I feel like someone's watching me for some reason. I don't know what's going on over here. It looks like my mascot is back. Told you we were going back to basics, and I had to dig him out of storage, and he is back. So, yes, complaint department starts right here. You got a complaint, you talk to him. Trust me, you don't want to do that, though. All right, let me know in the comments. Can you see and hear me? I don't want to be talking to myself. I do that enough on my own as is. We are live on a Thursday night special show that we're going to be having tonight, and we will get started here very shortly. Just want to double check because Facebook, Meta, Skynet, whatever we're calling that nowadays, actually had a change in their policy for lives, and I want to make sure that everything's okay on that end. And it looks like everything's good there. All right, so we have hell of a show special tonight. The reason it's special is because the guest that I have tonight was a guest on here earlier, almost 30 days ago, whenever we went ahead and did a launch of his project shortly after his launch of, let me see if I get this right every single time. You got to enunciate very well. Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space. You have to say it like that or it doesn't exist. And it's number 2. So there's already been a number 1. We're at number 2 on the Kickstarter. We're going to be talking to Max DeVill. Let's go ahead and bring him out here and start having some fun. Here is Max.
What's up?
What's up, Max? Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. I liked all the fire and the hell, and it made me feel right at home.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, it's been kind of cold around here the past couple of days whenever we wake up in the morning and everything. So that, you know, just it brings me back to my roots on this, and it kind of warms me up every time I do that.
It has been a little chilly in the morning here, too. It was like 55 degrees this morning, and I took the dog out, and I was like, whoo, I should have wore a hoodie.
Yeah, it said on the weather we were like 40 degrees yesterday, is what it said on there. And then I looked at it actually, and it was, no, it was like 36 or something. It was like, no, it can't be that cold yet.
Not yet.
Boys!
Yobu.
What's up, Larry? All right, so we're going to have
Larry here.
You have got a current campaign. We're going to be talking about that as we go along with this, but we're going to kind of throw some stuff out there, get to know you a little bit better and what you do and why you do it, and, you know, find out exactly how big your mansion is and how many servants you have. I mean, there's all these questions I have for you.
I just got a divorce. I lost all my money.
All right, so first thing I want to ask you is Atrocity Press. How did you come up with the name for Atrocity Press? I've always been curious about that on a personal level.
Well, let's see. I talked to Hart Fisher, who had Boneyard Press, and I was like, boy, I sure would like to bring that back, you know? And he was like, nah, I don't want to do it. This was probably 7 years ago. And I was like, all right, fine. And he goes, do you know why I named it Boneyard Press? And I was like, no. He goes, because it'll show up faster in the Diamond catalog because it's a B instead of like a D or an M.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, Atrocity's a cool name. Atrocity Press, you know, just to kind of do an homage to Boneyard Press. That, and we don't want to, I mean, I want to publish comics, but eventually I want to publish books too. So I didn't want to just call it Atrocity Comics. It had to be a press.
There you go.
So we can do all that stuff, you know, expansion for growth and all that good stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like Mary Machine Gun used to be called Sister Mary Machine Gun. And then I realized that it would be very restrictive to the stories I could tell. So I dropped the sister and just kept the Mary Machine Gun. And now we got we could tell stories all over the world.
There you go.
In any time frame.
There you go.
So,
and that is definitely. I mean, you've got some great titles that you're working on and all. Mary Machine Gun is one that caught my attention from the very beginning, and then of course, Human Hunters, which is if you like the horror-esque style of things out there, it definitely hits on that with a twist.
Yeah, it's the famous Monsters meets Mission Impossible.
Yes. Yes. And then to top it off, I mean, this one here. I mean, I would ask, how do you come up with the name on this? But I'm pretty sure that you just start jotting down, what is some great things that people would actually love to see on comics or see in books, and then come up with a title from that. But
it was a half drunken night, and me and my buddies were coming up with the cheesiest B movie titles we could come up with, and mine was Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space, and we all had a good chuckle about it. And then about 2 weeks later, I called up Johnny and I was like, "Look, I got this idea for a comic book. Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space." And he's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm dead serious." He's like, "All right, let's do it."
it's honestly, it's one of those names that as soon as I hear it, I immediately think Roger Corman. It just it pops into my head immediately with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a B movie in a comic book. That's the whole point of the shtick of it all, is that it's got gore, it's got sex appeal, and it's got hot women, and it's got a bunch of jokes.
Yep.
So
nice. And of course, you got issue number 2 is on campaign right now.
Yep.
And if you haven't looked at issue number 1, you have a catch-up tier, or you have the add-on.
I do.
So you do have options on there for people to get on board and figure out what's going on with this.
Yeah.
It is a fun ride. It is a. I'm trying to do this without spoilers, of course, because I don't want to ruin things for people. Just think of the title, and I'm telling you right now, once you have the title, it goes from there. I really can't explain except for that.
Everyone's like, "What's the name of the book?" I'm like, "Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space." "What's it about?" "It's about Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space." I mean, there's not much else I can tell you about it besides that that's what it is.
I mean, it's Wikipedia's, it's in Wikipedia as the best version of an elevator pitch right there. You go ahead and have that name with the, your elevator pitch. It's right there.
You can buy the only comic with 7 words in the title this year.
Now, see, I know a lot of creators that would take that as a challenge, and they'll come out with 8 just to mess with you.
Yeah, probably, but that's okay. Let them get a bigger name, because I'll make it even bigger. I'll be like,
and see, I'm telling you, everyone, that's why you need to get on board with Atrocity Press, because their main hashtag is size matters. Right there, I'm telling you right now.
It does matter. If chicks say size don't matter, they're lying. Because I'm telling you, I'm hung like a tuna can.
We're getting way off kilter. Thank goodness
I made this.
Hey, thank goodness I made this not safe for kids as soon as we went on. You just get that feeling whenever you're like, "Yeah, who's my guest tonight?" Nope, not safe for kids.
Yeah, you better pull that. Put the children to bed early tonight.
Well, I mean, obviously, it is a blast working on this series and the other ones that you're working on and everything. You've got some other people that you're working on with this. You mentioned Johnny, and of course Fern, who
Fern Court is the art director. He doesn't do with Ninja Bimbos. He's just he does the corrections and helps them with some of their art when it comes out. He'll be like, "Hey, this would look a lot better with some stuff in the foreground. Put some stuff back here. Change the way her arm looks all messed up." That type of thing. He's the main artist for Mary Machine Gun. I mean, he does it all. He does the pencils, the inks, and the coloring for Mary Machine Gun.
Well, I even noticed, I believe it was today, that Fern had put a post out, and he even said, that he is the art director and everything going through all this. But he flat out, he was promoting, this Kickstarter and everything that was out there, and saying what a good job, was done on it. And here's some of the great covers that are on there and some of the artwork,
Oh yeah.
showing that excitement. And that's what I was getting at, is the fun element is one thing, but y'all are very excited with the products that y'all put out there too.
Well, they're super fun. I mean, Mary Machine Gun, she's killing supernatural creatures, and she's got a sword and a gun, and that's pretty cool. Human Hunters, Famous Monsters meets Mission Impossible. We can do all sorts of stuff with that. And then Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space is just a good time. I mean, when me and Johnny sit down to write this, the first time we wrote it super cheesy. Like, it was just like real cheesy, real jokey. And then the art started coming back. And we're like, this art is too good. We need to punch this up a little bit. It's not going to match. So we punched it up a little bit and made the stakes a little higher, and it worked out really well.
Nice. Very nice. I mean, it not only do you have fun with, writing of the stories and dealing with the artwork and everything, but there have been some things that you've had as add-ons or other purchases on some of your campaigns that I got to bring up, because thinking outside of the box is one thing that you're definitely doing on this. And I actually don't see her today, because I thought you had the standee of Mary Machine Gun, correct?
Yeah, they're hung up. They're hung up in my bedroom.
Ah,
this is the office.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got a bunch of crap on the bed back there. All my comics are in the corner. I traded like 9 long boxes for like 18 short boxes. thinking I'll just get short boxes and I'll save a bunch of space. No.
No. No, I know exactly how that is, because I traded out 3 or 4 long boxes and got short boxes, and it's like, I have no room for this stuff now. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. See, that's why you pay attention in math class in high school and everything. These things do come up every once in a while whenever it comes to comics.
Randomly.
But you've got the full-size standees, which I think are absolutely awesome, because it's the closest thing to bringing them to life, around you and everything, and being able to see, the depth of the artwork and everything with that. But you went a step further on the last campaign. We were discussing it in the green room, is the body pillow that you were doing.
Yeah, we did the body pillow of Mary Machine Gun, which I've got right here for the pillowcase.
Nice.
That's the front. And we got the back.
There you go. See, he does not skimp on the quality on these things. I mean, that's front and back, not just one, side or another.
Yep. I mean, when we put stuff together, we always try to think of what would we want.
Right.
And I like stand-ups. As you can tell, I got a Vampirella back there, and I've got 3 more in my bedroom that are like my own characters. And I used to have a whole bunch of stand-ups, Witchblade, Tarot, and all these different stand-ups, and I loved them. And some of them got damaged and moved. Some of them got damaged by water. Some of them got damaged by children. And some of them got damaged by drunken me. So over time, I lost a whole bunch of them, and I was like, you know what? Let's make some more of these.
There you go. There you go. And you've also got some things on there where you do the calendars are really cool whenever you do those.
Yeah, we used to do like a Human Hunters calendar, and then a Mary Machine Gun calendar, and a Ninja Bimbos calendar. But this year we decided we're just going to start doing an Atrocity Press calendar.
Yes.
That way we can put it with all the campaigns.
And that's good too, because you actually have it kind of tied in. So anybody who grabs something, gets the calendar, and just thinks the calendar is going to be really cool, because it goes with the certain campaign, they can look at it and go, I don't remember this character from there. I need to find out where this character's from, and then get on that campaign and find out what's going on.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking about, like with the little calendar images, putting the book title on the bottom so people could know which book they came from.
Exactly.
I think that would be a good idea.
But I mean, you've got some great stuff that you got out there. I mean, I know whenever I back this thing, it never fails. We get to a point where we get the prints, unlocked, and then we get the really good prints unlocked. Things
Every
that I will not show
$1,000.
you. Yeah, I will not show you on screen. I don't want to get docked for that one.
Yeah, they've gotten progressively, how would you say, raunchier? They're getting good. I mean, it's not porn, but
No.
they're definitely, like, we've got one with Donna in the bathtub, and that one's pretty spicy.
Spicy is good, and I will admit it's interesting whenever I get the fulfillment in the mail and I go to open it up. And of course, the first thing you see is the cover of whatever book you got. You go to flip it over, you're like, hello.
Yeah, Johnny's a master packer, boy. He knows how to put it all together and make you excited every time you open something, pull something else out of there.
That is cool. Now, speaking of, being able to get a fulfillment and open it up and everything and being excited about it, what are some of the books that you've gotten recently that you've been excited about opening up?
Let's see. I've got Reign of Ages from Sam Quentin, which I
Mhm.
can't show because I got the Not Safe for Work cover. Tom Hutchinson is doing Bad Kitty. He's relaunching Bad Kitty for Dynamite.
Mhm.
So I found these.
Yep.
These are all 4 of the original Bad Kitty from Chaos.
Nice.
So I got those. And then, of course, anything Vampirella. And then I started getting Draculina comics.
Oh, nice.
Which is Vampirella's sister.
Yep.
So we'll see how those turn out. I'm waiting to collect more before I read them because I always read, if I read a comic book and I don't read like 2 or 3 at a time of that story, I'm just like, okay, that was a quick read.
Yeah.
That's why we try to make our Atrocity Press books bigger than most. I mean, Mary Machine Gun 1, 36 pages. Mary Machine Gun 2, 44 pages. Mary Machine Gun 3 was 34 pages, and Mary Machine Gun 4 is 40 pages.
Yep. And I actually have Mary Machine Gun 1, 2, and 3 behind the curtain of hell here. So I can't get to it right now, but I'm looking forward to, number 4, the storyline's really building on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's you definitely pull the interest on what you're talking about, with your storyline going through there. In fact, your books are actually on my list of book reviews that I'll be doing in the next few weeks.
Sweet.
So I will, of course, I'll let you know, and I'll tag you in the post and all that kind of stuff.
Don't treat me with kid gloves. I can take it.
Oh no, no problem. In fact, speaking of which, I just did a book review for Gage.
Oh, Godslayers?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And that was, he already knows how I felt because I already talked to him about it. And he was one of those that was on, my chat going, again, don't treat me with the kid gloves. Tell me what you think, what's going on. And I did. I went through with a fine tooth comb, and I mean, it's done very well.
Yeah, it's definitely done well. The only thing I told him I would have changed drastically was it the first 2 pages both had like 12 panels in them or something like that. And I was like, dude, Fernando would be so pissed off at me if I did this to him.
That is true. Because I notice he does like having the, as few panels as possible per page. And it's just a lot of commotion and action and storyboard. I mean, the whole thing is on there whenever he does it. And it comes out to be a page turner. You can't flip them fast enough to get through, but you're still keeping up with the story.
Oh, yeah, that's the good thing about it.
And it definitely works.
The fact that you can keep up to the story and still like burn through the pages, and you're like, man, that was quick.
Oh yeah,
that's good stuff.
If you notice that I'm wincing just a little bit after I drink this, is because this is the new Mountain Dew Voodoo. And
is that the mystery flavor?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard it was orange.
I still can't tell. It's not just orange. I'm telling you, there's something else, and I can't tell. That's why I keep like, I don't know what that is, but I can't stop.
I was going to ask you if that's what that was, because the girl's son got one yesterday, and he said it tasted like Code Red. Or not
Yeah,
Code Red, but Code Orange.
yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's very different. I can't place it, which doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, because it could be anything.
Who knows what it is? Like, welcome to Code Orange and Bat Guano.
Well, hey, speaking of bat guano, let's go ahead and say this today. Happy National Coffee Day today, because bat guano does a lot of the coffee.
That's true.
I found that out later in life, and I was like, it's not stopping me from drinking.
I never started the coffee thing. I've been married twice, both for 10 years. The wives both tried to get me to drink coffee, and I'm like, look, I drink like 10 or 12 Cokes a day. I smoke like 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes a day if I'm just chain smoking. I don't need any more vices.
Yeah, mine is definitely coffee is my top one. And there was a company that I was getting the monthly, subscription thing in.
Mm-hmm.
And my fiance, she did me a favor for my birthday. She went ahead and she got me a different company subscription and canceled the other one. She said, I have a feeling this one's going to be better. And I was like, what have you done? You've ruined my addiction here. Oh,
Yeah.
no. She made my addiction so much more worse. This company is so much better. In fact, I am working on trying to get them to become a sponsor of the show, because I always have coffee. I mean, I'm always drinking.
Just be like, look, all you got to do, all I need is a little bit of money, and you give me a coffee cup with your name on it.
There you go. There you go. But I mean, like with you, I mean, you need to contact Coca-Cola and tell them, hey, every single show.
I know, and if you ask me, I'm like, for Coca-Cola, $1 million in an advertising campaign, that's a drop in the bucket.
Exactly. They just kick that under the rug anyway. It's like, oh, just kick it over this way a little bit.
And they don't care. But I mean, for me, $100,000 would go a long way.
Ain't that the truth? That is definitely the truth. So let me ask you this. You've got, the comics thing going and everything. What is something else that you aspire to get into besides just the comics? Or what do you want to evolve into?
I think there's 2 different ways of going. See, I used to do short films and stuff like that when I was much younger. And I could see myself getting back into movies. I mean, I really could. Because it was a good time and it was fun and everything. I don't know if I would do feature films or if I'd still do shorts, because with a short you can get it done quicker and actually get it out, and it's a little more fun to me. A feature takes so much longer to do. Or if that doesn't work, I'd really, really like to do a Mary Machine Gun animation. If Netflix or Hulu or anybody came to me and was like, we want to do a Mary Machine Gun animation, and or a TV show, and I'd be like, it's animation or nothing.
See, what I would like to see immediately whenever you say that, I think of HBO Max and getting it done in the same version of the Spawn anime.
Yeah, the Spawn anime. Yep.
Yes.
I was getting ready to say, I wanted it to be like the Spawn thing, because that Spawn cartoon followed the comic books almost to a T.
Yes.
It was amazing.
But it was so dark and gritty, and it kept you so involved in the storyline, and even the voices that were on there and the dialogue and everything just played perfectly throughout the entire thing.
Oh yeah, and you can watch them on YouTube.
Well, and then
you can watch them on YouTube.
Exactly, and then they came out with a live action. Everybody was like, "Well, what happened?"
Yeah, that was. And how long has it been now since Todd McFarlane said they've been coming out with a new live action movie? 15 years. He keeps saying it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it never happens.
I don't see it happening, especially since he has now signed another deal with DC, and he's over there, working on some stuff again with Batman and Spawn. So,
yeah, I mean, I know he was doing all their toys.
Yep.
And then I knew he did the thing with Batman and Spawn, but I figured that had something to do with Jim Lee.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, because him and Jim were Image buddies
Oh yeah.
back in the Image Revolution, and uh, yeah, I figured that's what it had to do with it. I didn't know. I mean, because someone was saying that Todd McFarlane might take over DC, and I'm like, he's never leaving Image.
No.
He's just not.
No, but to have his influence over there, with the Batman Spawn thing, that would get enough
Oh
people to
yeah,
go, "Ooh, DC's back," that kind of thing.
yep. I mean, if they can make Batman dark enough with Spawn, that they could really have a winner.
Yes.
And that actually could turn into a movie.
Oh yeah.
I could see that. I couldn't see a solo Spawn flick, but a Batman versus Spawn or Batman and Spawn, I could see that.
Oh yes. We definitely want to see that. I mean, that was one of those epic series that was out there that you thought would never come to video or whatever because they just couldn't do it. But now
Yep.
you think of it and it can go straight to video. I mean, it's whatever's in your mind can go there.
Yeah, all the new special effects and stuff like that these people are doing. They've got some intense green screen sets. I
Oh yeah.
mean, I was watching the motion capture for, you remember the Spider-Man game that
Yep.
came out on PlayStation 4?
Yep.
And I was watching the motion capture for that, and that guy, I can't remember the guy's name who was in the suit, but he needs to be in a Spider-Man movie because that dude was really doing all that stuff, jumping upside down and flipping and throwing stuff and jumping all around, and I was like, wow. I thought that was just at least some sort of animation blend, but
Right.
nope, he was doing it.
And it's funny you mentioned about the Spider-Man game because I had seen most recently about the mods they were doing, and they actually modded Stan Lee as the character of Spider-Man in the game. So you see Stan Lee whipping webs out there and going all through, and it looks realistic. It is the coolest thing ever to see that because it's Stan Lee. I mean, come on.
I'd have to check that out. I haven't seen it. I'm like, my son played it a lot, and then he got the Miles Morales version and played that one until it was done. And then once he beat them both, he was kind of like, I'm done with these. I want to go back to playing Red Dead.
Yeah. Well, I
Because he
know
can
they're
just,
doing a lot with Spider-Man, especially this year because it's his 60th anniversary.
yep.
So they're really pulling out all the stops with that, but they're not saying anything about Spider-Man's involvement in the MCU going forward, which is probably just because they got Tom Holland stuck in a room with no windows and no doors or anything like that, as quiet as possible.
And Sony's got control of Spider-Man still, so they have to always make deals with Marvel to make it happen. And speaking of Marvel, did they drop the ball this year or what? Stan Lee's 100th birthday year. They could have had a century of Stan Lee, and then all year
Yes.
made all sorts of Stan Lee homages and everything, and it would have been amazing, but they just totally dropped the ball on it.
Yep. I completely agree, and that is one thing that I still don't understand how they could have missed that, even in a smaller capacity. But they just kind of just went, okay, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's more or less what they're doing.
I mean, they're really pretending like Stan Lee doesn't exist anymore. I mean, he doesn't exist anymore, but I mean,
Right.
but he exists at all.
Right. It's almost like they're wiping him from existence completely on this, and that's not cool. I mean, he had a major hand in there. He wasn't the only one, of course. We're not going to get
No,
started into that whole debacle, but
no. But I
he
mean,
was one of the main.
Even Jack Kirby's been kind of forgotten by
Oh yeah.
a lot of people.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's a fact right there. And some people had ill tempers toward Stan Lee because of that, which I still don't understand that one exactly. And then, of course, whenever Stan Lee passes away, then the same thing happens to Stan Lee now, and it's like, okay, so now we know it wasn't Stan Lee's fault.
Yeah. I mean, Stan Lee definitely, he was a good self-promoter. He definitely was of the school of P.T. Barnum,
Mm-hmm.
and he did a really good job of self-promotion. I mean, I
Oh yeah.
can't hate the guy for that.
And speaking of self promotion, I got to give you props because some of your things that you put up there and post, It's a good thing that I'm not drinking at the time, you know, because I'd be spitting coffee all over the place at times. I laugh pretty hard at some of these that go across. It's awesome what you come up with.
Yeah, we have fun doing the memes and stuff like that. We just sit there and, because I get up at like, I can only sleep for 3 hours at a time. I don't know what it is. I can go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'll wake up at 11 p.m. I go to bed at 2 in the morning. I'll wake up at 5 a.m. You know, it just doesn't matter. It's 3 hours of sleep, no matter what.
Damn.
I've tried like working out and going or getting all wore out before I go to bed, and then I just wake up. I wake up 3 hours later, just sore. But I wake up in the morning and I just start making memes. Some of them hit, some of them don't. But I have a good time doing it.
So let me ask you this. If you had, I'm not going to narrow it down to just one because that's too hard of a decision. Let's say your top 3 characters that you would want to have a crossover event with.
Okay. Crossover event with Mary Machine Gun would be Mary Machine Gun and Niobe. And we're actually, me and Larry are talking about it. It's not going to, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we're talking about it. We're trying to come up with a storyline that makes sense for both of the characters.
Right.
We did a crossover poster with Sister Mercy, and I'd like to do a full crossover with Sister Mercy and Mary Machine Gun. If Mary Machine Gun went into Sister Mercy's post-apocalyptic world,
yes,
I think that would be fantastic. And then, oh man, I got to think of one more. There's like so many of the, I mean,
you still have Human Hunters and you have Ninja Bimbos, so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, but see, like with the Ninja Bimbos, there's not really much crossover that can be done with that because they've got to be. Each Ninja Bimbo has a specific role. Like Leah, the blonde one, she's the typical blonde airhead, but she's the innocence of the group. You know, I mean, so you can't really, yeah. So you can't. I mean, she's the one that's like, oh look, she's still alive. It's like, no, dummy, she's a zombie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But I guess if we could really do some like some Human Hunter stuff, anything from Miskatonic, all the Miskatonic universities, all that Miskatonic stuff, that would be really cool.
Yes. That does sound pretty cool. And I do like what you come up with on there because I do remember I was hoping you were going to get on that poster with Sister Mercy because that was awesome seeing that where they were together.
Yeah, fighting the big Balor demon.
Yes. Yes, that was definitely an epic sight to see on there, and that's something where you go, it's got to happen.
Well, I haven't talked to Corey about it yet. I mean, we talked about it a long time ago, but Corey's got book after book after book coming out. He's got, I think he's going to have 3 books now. He's got Sister Mercy, Hope and Sin.
Yeah.
And another one that I can't remember the title of that he was teasing. And we've got our 3 that we're doing. Plus next year we have Love and Death. We'll have Dimension Travelers. We'll have maybe Lady Blasphemy at the end of the year. If it's not at the end of the year, it'll be at the beginning of next year.
Nice.
And I don't know if you've seen that character, but she's our succubus character. She's very, very interesting.
Hey, calm down over there. Yeah, I know. He said so. Chill. Just chill down a little bit. You won't get him all excited.
That cigar's getting lower.
Oh, hang on. We just had somebody pop in the back. Let me go ahead and bring him up here.
Oh.
Now, hang on. Anybody that comes in late on the show, they have to do the chicken dance, or is it the I'm a Little Teapot? Which one was it? I can't remember.
I think it was the teapot.
Then I would be backing right back out.
I told you he existed. I told you he existed.
He does exist.
I had one of those days that I had not had anyone in my shop all day. It was a slow day, and then all of a sudden 3 people all walked in at 6, and I'm like, really?
Exactly.
Which is good and bad.
Exactly.
So I apologize for being late.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. We were I was actually talking to Max about it in the green room, and I was like, he talks about Johnny, this, Johnny that, with, dealing with all these. And I'm like, I have yet to ever see Johnny. Does he really exist? Or is this the guy that you actually just say, your complaints and everything go to Johnny? Whereas, Max is sitting over there going, don't complain to me. It's my stuff, but I don't want to have it.
I think that's both. I think you're right in both cases, right?
Well, I mean, we've already kind of discussed and going through, some of the different things that are in there in Atrocity Press. We were talking a little bit about, I love saying this, ninja bimbos versus zombies from deep space.
Space. Yeah.
You gotta say it right.
And we were talking about how much fun y'all have in putting this together. And of course, with a title like that, how can you not have fun? This is not something where you sit in there and you're like, okay, be serious. We got to finish this. I don't see that happening.
Oh, no. I mean, once we figured out it was really going to happen, because I remember Max calling me up and saying, hey, I got an idea for a new book. And he gave me the title, and I just started laughing. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, we're serious. And I'm like, all right, we can do this. I'm like, so we're going to start working on an outline and characters? He's like, yeah. And I mean, heck, I think it was like a month and we were pretty much already into the first book.
Yep.
Nice.
Didn't take long.
It came really quick. I don't know. I mean, most everything we write comes quick. I hate to say it. I'm going to knock on wood real quick, but
yeah, we're a pretty good writing team, because like we always finish each other's sentences, or if we'll see something, I'll start editing something and he'll be like, I was getting ready to tell you to change that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's rare, because I mean, for me, like my background is I used to be a metal drummer. And I always, we'd write a lot of songs and I'd write lyrics. And I mean, probably in my life, I probably jammed with, 50 to 100 people. And I found one that I could write with. And, musically, that we just clicked. And it's just, I have that same feeling with Max. It's a magical thing. And that's the best thing. And it's so much fun. When you have somebody of a like mind and you sit down. And I think the most annoying thing about all of it is mostly like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like he'll be saying something and I'm like, I know that's a great idea because I was actually thinking it in my head. I mean, and we do that crap a lot.
No, and that's really cool because you come up with some great content there. And this particular series has been fun thus far. And then going into 2, and then we're talking about, a 3rd issue is already being talked about, for next year. How far can these Ninja Bimbos go? That's kind of
we've written up to what? Is it 5?
Well, yeah, we've written up to 5, but we've got the concepts and stuff down for at least out to 10 or 12 issues.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we got that whole next story arc with do we say the name or just wait?
No, we can say it. The Dale and Chips.
The Dale and Chips, yes.
They're going to have to fight the Dale and Chips.
So that'll just, who the Dale and Chips are and what they do. That's left for people to read, but we're having a lot of fun with it. That's going to be the new concept that we're going to do.
Nice.
Right now, the story arc is just them becoming, getting to the point where they're actually ninjas.
Yeah, because I mean, if you notice, they haven't become ninjas yet.
Right.
And they won't for a while. I mean, we wanted to tell the story not at a slow pace, but there's certain things that had to be shown. Like, they're pretty much incompetent at the very beginning of the books.
Oh yeah.
They're hitting each other. They're hitting the zombies in the wrong spots. They don't know what's going on, and then they wise up quickly as they move along, and then in this story they run into the girl who will be their ninja master. But that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening.
Well, we got pictures of her out there. I mean, on the Kickstarter. So I mean, I mean, when you look at our Kickstarter, you're going to see who she is. It's eyes. Because I mean, we got her name on her card.
Yep.
But I mean, what she comes from, who she is, she's fun to write. She's, I don't know. For me, my favorite character is by far Leah. I love writing her. Yours is what, Donna?
Yep, I like Donna the best. The smart one.
Well, she's the typical one she's only there because she's trying to pay her way through medical school.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she really is the smart one. Leah, to me, is dumb as a pet rock, and I think that's why we have so much fun with her. Because I've met girls that unfortunately, that's their mentality. They never quite grew up.
Oh yeah, I mean, it happens. I mean, but it's great how you're setting it up on there. Yes, it's a fun story, but you're giving it that realism element where if this goes on, you're not going to go out there and automatically become Rambo, and go take on these.
Oh
things.
no.
You're going to go out there and make mistakes and trip all over each other, like you said. In the first one, they're actually hitting each other by mistake whenever they're in fist fights and all because they have no idea what they're doing. It's set up very well in going into that, whereas I was hoping whenever I picked it up and started reading it that it wasn't going to be, okay, we already know martial arts. We're going to be ninjas as soon as we start.
No.
Like,
No.
how'd we do that?
Well, a lot of that comes from confidence too, because when we first started, planning this and doing it, Max totally believed in it, and got me right in board believing in it. So it's one of those where like, hey, let's take our time and do it right. Let's not rush it. We're looking at this book, writing it till we die. So I'm like, if we're going to, plan on writing it for that many years, let's do it right. Let's not rush it. Let's take our time.
Exactly.
For sure.
Now, is it that you work in a comic store or you own a comic store?
Yes. And yes.
Okay.
No, I own a comic and game. Basically, I'm the trifecta. I have comics. I do previews and all. I also have all kinds of action figures. And then I also do the gaming. I do the Magic, the 40K. So I even got a mini little theater in my deal for like trivia night. So it's kind of fun.
And you just got a ton of Warhammer into today.
Oh, yeah. I just went to a whole different tier with my distributor. So I got a lot of it.
That is awesome. So my question is, with you've got that going and everything, how do you find time to come up with the ideas for stories like this?
The ideas, we don't have a problem with that. I mean, honestly, it's like, we got right now, 4 or 5 working titles that we're working on. And I got 2 or 3 in my back pocket. Max has got 2 or 3. It's more like trying to get the artists to catch up with what we're trying to write. Because because he's got a whole different comic coming out of Mary next year. I got a couple of ones that I want to put out. He's already dropped some stuff because you already put the lady stuff out there, right?
Yeah, Lady Blasphemy. I put
Blasphemy.
The character design out. But that's
I'm working on character designs for a new one that I'm working on. And then of course we got, ninjas, we got Mary, we have human hunters. So
yep. And so next year we'll have Love and Death and
Nice.
Dimension Travelers and Mary Machine Gun. We got Mary Machine Gun. The new Mary Machine Gun story arc is called Mary Machine Gun Dark America.
Yep.
And that'll be a 3 shot. So
and that's just like Human Hunters right now. We've already written all the way up to issue 5. Our artist just started 5, so we're way ahead on that one. And then the next story arc for that, we've already got the outline, and we're going to start working on it, and that's going to be the Gauntlet. So, like I said, most of our stuff that we're working on, we have most of the stuff planned 10, 20 issues ahead.
I program all day, so I can sit here and just like let my mind wander about story points and everything while I'm doing that. And Johnny works in a comic shop, so he got a lot of repetitive work, like looking up figures and how much do they cost and putting them all together and bagging and boarding comics. And so he can autopilot that shit and think about everything else.
I think really though, when it comes down to it, it's our superpower. Me and Max are mutants, and Max doesn't sleep and I don't sleep. I sleep about if I get a good night's sleep, I sleep 4 hours a night. I wake up at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And then, and it's funny because Max will text me and he wakes up. It's like 3:34. Max is like, "You sleeping?" And I'm like, "No." And and it's funny because we write through StreamYard,
Yep.
just like this.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny because we started it during COVID, but it works so well we keep it because we don't even live that far apart. We live not even 5 minutes.
5 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah. But we still write because we're so used to it, because Max will bring up a shared screen with a Word document. And he does the typing because, let's face it, you spell a hell of a lot better than I ever thought about it. And then we just go through it, you know. So he's like, you know, like last week, he's like, hey, we're gonna write. So it's like 4 a.m, we're logging on, and while everybody else is still sleeping, we're pounding out books.
And that helps because there's no one to hassle you.
No.
Right.
And we can stay focused. I mean, because normally when we do a book, we'll have like one day, then we'll do an outline. And then we'll come back in, and we usually have pretty much the story done in 2 to 3 sittings, I think.
Yeah, because the outlines are pretty detailed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like you can take the outlines, and each individual point in the outline is a panel.
It's almost like a storyboard. And I think that's probably,
close.
I think that's kind of from yours and mine movie background.
Yeah.
Because we both did a lot of the stuff in the movie industry for a while.
Nice. Now, let me ask you, what have been, you know, we've talked a lot about all the stuff that is working well. What have been some of the bigger obstacles that y'all have come across?
As always, it's the same thing that comes across with any business, is money. I mean, that's one that is always rough. I mean, we got artists, we got to pay them, and then we've got all these books that are ready, but we haven't kickstarted any of them. So we haven't made any of our money back that we spent, because we at Atrocity Press, we do the book until it's done, and then we run the Kickstarter to fund the printing.
Yep.
You know, and then hopefully we make a little bit extra, enough to pay back ourselves for what we put into the book. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, and I think the other thing that, like, for me, I'm not going to mention any names. We're not going to badmouth anybody. No. But it is one of those things, you know, sometimes, you know, the hurdles is other people that you're working with. Yep. Because, you know, their timeline is not always the same of what we have. Right. Like when me and Max get rolling, it's truly like a machine. I mean, even like to the point of like when we ship out the books, I mean, they ship them into us. I mean, we will get a Kickstarter funded in like a day. Not funded, but packaged.
Fulfilled.
I mean, we'll get them fulfilled in like a day.
We can do 200 packages in a day.
Ooh.
If we really focus and sit down and have all the material we need. Because half the time it's always like, oh, we're out of bubble wrap. I'm like, all right, I'll go into office, Max. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But I mean,
I'm going to interject real quick, and I'm going to say this because I want everyone to know this that's watching this. They do not skimp on the packaging. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is a major pet peeve of a lot of us out here, me especially included. I'm in the super backer category, and I've had quite a few people who will send stuff to me, and I'm like, you actually sent this out like this? And you didn't think it was going to get messed up?
Yeah, people don't send stuff out. And I mean, we use Geminis because that's just the best way to do it. But I mean, if you can't afford a Gemini, at least put it between 2 thick corrugated pieces of cardboard in an envelope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we even mentioned earlier, Johnny, about I had gotten, you know, I get the packages in, and he said that you're, you know, the best at packaging those things up, because I'll get it in and I'll see the cover. And I'm like, ooh, I'm excited I got my book. And then I'll flip it over and be like, and I'll never be able to show those, you know, prints anywhere. But, man, they look good.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks. Well, and that goes back again about, you know, our strengths. You know, I'm really fast with my hands, that whole drumming thing, you know. Max is a computer, you know, savant. I mean, basically. So he's typing this stuff out, and it's like I have it wrapped up by the time he's got the label printing. And it just works out perfect. And then he'll go to the next one. He reads it off. And we have a little assembly line, you know, everything's in boxes. And I'll run through when he reads it off. And then it just works really well. I mean, I'd have to say the best thing about all of this, I mean, for me personally, you have that moment when you get your first comic and you see your name on it. You know, you get a little teary-eyed because you're like, oh, my God, it's happening. But I mean, really, the best thing is really the friendship that I've gotten with Max. I mean, he's not even a friend. He's like my brother, you know, and it's just, we get along so well. And, you know, the fact that, I mean, Max started this is his baby. Mary Machine Gun was his baby. And just to let you, I'm going to say something real quick here, but just to, Mary's his baby, and him just saying, hey, I want you to co-write it with me. I'm like, what? You're trusting me to do this. And then even further when he goes, I think you need to be a partner in this. And I said, cool, and then we had another conversation and he goes, you know what? And I'm thinking, 15, 20%, he started the thing. And he's like, no, we're going to do this together. It's going to be 50-50. Half this is going to be yours. And I'm like, I mean, that just shows the generosity and the trust, that Max puts out. So, and that's one of those things that just speaks volumes. And, I'm like, if he's going to trust me, I'm not going to let him down. I'm going to do whatever we can to make this the most powerful company that we can do.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the best way to look at it because, no one's going to come into this and become a multimillionaire overnight. I mean, if you think that's going to happen, it's not. I mean, I'm just going to burst bubbles all over the place on that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not going to come into this and hit a $50,000, campaign just because you throw your first book up there and it has a pretty cover on it and, something like that. It's all about going to the extra level. That's my point on all this is it's not about just the cover for people like me. It's not about the content for people like me. It's about the overall experience, which Atrocity Press definitely provides because not only whenever I get my book in is it done, I still get the email saying they should be out there. They should be complete. If there's anything wrong, simply let us know. We'll make it right.
Yep.
I have yet to take you up on that because they all come in great condition, but I at least feel good about my purchase at the time going, things happen, Mother Nature may have an issue with it, with a postman or whatever, because it does happen.
We've had the mail. We've had a couple that have been returned to, or the book didn't get returned to us because I don't want the book back, but we've had a couple where the mailman folded the Gemini. And I'm like, you know how much work that would take?
Wow.
Yeah. That's somebody just mad and having a bad day. Well, thank you for that. Because, and we do. That's the one thing, we try to take pride in. And that's, especially, when it comes down to putting the book out and getting it done. And that's like, we make sure the book is done. Max said it before. I've had a lot of people that they say they won't back, they don't even want to go to Kickstarter anymore because they've been burnt. Oh, I backed a book and it was like 2 years later, still haven't gotten it. And I'm like, no, as soon as we get that money, it's going and you're going to have your book within a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Month and a half, depending on, shipping dates and everything else. But it's like, yeah, you're not going to wait very long. It's going to be until we can get it from the shipper and we're done. No,
yeah, even whenever the paper shortage was going on and everything, even though you had no control over that and you couldn't ship it out any quicker, you stayed with the people that backed it and you kept sending emails saying, here's the update. And if there was no update, it was just like, we appreciate your patience on this and everything. We just wanted to check in and let y'all know we haven't forgotten. That little bit right there is enough to go ahead and make whoever's not a fan or a follower to definitely push to that level.
Oh, yeah. And when I do updates on Kickstarter, I use them very sparingly. A lot of people will send you an update every day. It's like a 3, 4, 5 paragraph essay, and I'm just like, hey, we reached $3,000. We unlocked this new OD print. Congratulations to you all. Thank you very much. We look forward to you. Thank you for your support. Share and like the project if you can.
Right.
Thank you, Atrocity Press. And that's it. There's no reason to make people read because no one's going to read all that crap.
Right.
Not only that, that's valuable time that we can be writing the next issue.
Exactly.
We don't, but
exactly. And that's true because whenever you look at that, you're kind of like, okay, why are you writing me a huge paragraph? It's almost one of those things where I kind of look at it like, why am I looking in this hand? What are you doing in this hand over here? Why are you, taking my attention way over here on this huge paragraph?
Yeah.
What's going on in the campaign?
Yeah. Well, we keep everything, all the people about the campaign. As the campaign is moving along, we tell everybody, hey, we've done this. We've hit this goal. This stretch goal has been unlocked. We're doing this. We're doing that. There's sometimes, like we'll do certain things like with Sam, Quentin. We'll be like, hey, if you like anthropomorphic animals, check out 47 Furious Tales, and we'll put the link for it, But we don't overdo that like some people do. Like, here's six different books you guys should check out. And I'm like, no one's gonna do that.
Right. And the only way that would really kind of play into something like that is if you were doing, if it was a stretch goal to get digitals.
Yeah, which we have done before.
Right.
We do digital Niobe books and digital 47 Furious Tale books.
Yep. And that's a good thing to do as well, because not only to give a little bit extra to everybody who's backing it, but it also helps out your overseas fans and followers, because they can't get physical books. They can at least get their digital and more.
Yep. For sure.
Absolutely.
And that's something that I'm happy that y'all are looking at the big picture on all this and not looking at just, who can we get in our small circle that's going to go ahead and back this and follow through on this. Passing the same $20 bill between the same people every single campaign, that's not going to do anything really. You want to get outside of that box on that. And I can see where y'all are definitely trying to expand that market. And I think every campaign, if I'm not mistaken, y'all are expanding on the number of backers.
Yeah, usually we have gone up and up and up. I think one campaign we did less backers by like 12, but we made more money. So that was weird.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, and the one thing about it is, I mean, we're passionate about it. We write, but like when you go back to our backgrounds, me and Max both have degrees in business. I worked in the corporate world for 25 years, in the financial. Max has got all his, pedigree with computers and the companies he works for. So it's like we have this passion of writing the comics, but there's that flip side where we automatically flip. And I think that's probably annoying to Max with me, because I go very business thought sometimes.
Right.
And Max is like, he calms me down, talks me back off the cliff, because a lot of it is that, it's still a comic. We got to do this. And that's, like I said, that's that perfect pairing that we found here. But we're always learning, we like our stretch goals. They're not always the same every comic,
right?
Because we're changing some stuff up. We're trying to experiment. We're trying to, if people, if there's certain things they want, let us know. Get out there in our groups, message us, because we want to know what people are thinking and what people want. It's great that we want to write what we want. But but by the same token, there's fans out there that are reading this stuff. What do you want? What kind of products do you want to see from us?
Yeah, it's like today I put out we have a group on Facebook, Atrocity Press Comics.
Yep.
And I put out there on the group, I was like, who do you want to see as a cover artist? Because I could choose cover artists all day long, but who do you guys want to see? Now, don't tell me J. Scott Campbell, because I can't afford him.
I don't think anybody can now. It's funny because he was on one of those home decorating shows with his wife, and I was like, and it was funny because I'm like, that's Scott Campbell, and he's like showing this mansion, and I'm like, man, that guy makes bank off those covers. I need to go back to art school is what I need to do. That's freaking crazy. That hindsight, if I know now, knew then what I know now.
Exactly. I mean, I still, kind of cry myself to sleep every night because I, think about all the comics that I've let go throughout the years and the stuff that I had whenever I was a kid. And I'm looking at it going, really? It's worth that much now? What happened?
Yeah.
See, I'm going to say I can't say anything because I started collecting comics with issue X-Men 147. And I've never thrown one of my comics away.
Whew.
I still have all of them. I mean, I got over 100 long boxes in my personal collection.
Golly.
Just because I just always collected them, and I just to me they were my world. They were my passion. They were my escape. I was one of those kids that was really sick with asthma as a kid, so I read comics. That's what I did. Yeah. I loved X-Men because that was a book about people that were different, that were treated different. And at the time, I thought it was great because when people are a little bit different, you can associate with that,
Right.
And now it's great because now I got a comic shop and, now I'm writing comics.
Now, this sounds familiar to a particular movie that I'm thinking of right now because you talking like that. By any chance, are you a supervillain? Because we're talking about Glass right now. I mean, he couldn't do anything but read comics because he was so different, like you were saying. So should we be a little concerned here?
We should always be concerned. I mean, absolutely. But no, I mean, that was one of those. Once I got into high school, I grew out of it, and I wound up being a drummer and a hockey player. So now I got older, and it's come back and haunted me. But no, I mean, good point though. Yeah, that was a good movie. I have to say that was a surprise movie when I watched it, the first one.
I remember watching Unbreakable.
Yes.
And at the very end of that movie, I was like, "This is it. No, come on, more." And that was the first M. Night Shyamalan movie where I wanted to see more of it.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
I agree with you on that. That whole trilogy was it was awesome the way that it was done. And
they were all different. They felt different, but they were together.
Oh, absolutely. But McAvoy doing his role in there where he could actually flip those personalities as fast as he did. You want to talk about range. That's the kind of range that every actor should aspire to.
Yeah, and Marvel wants to replace him as Xavier instead of just bringing him on now that he's older. Drives me nuts. I'm like, no, bring him on. Let him stay as Xavier. Obviously, they're keeping Hugh Jackman. You might as well be able to keep McAvoy.
I was fixing to say, we're not going to go down that slope. I would like to go up on this one and say, Deadpool 3 official.
Yes.
Not only is it official, how awesome was it the way that they went ahead and released the information on that with that video? That was awesome how Ryan Reynolds did that.
Well, there's so many videos out there of him saying no. That's what I thought was brilliant. Yeah, sure, Ryan. And nonchalant. It was brilliant. It's marketing genius.
And he's walking upstairs like he just, they live together type thing. Like it is great how they did that. And then the second video that they did the next day where they're like, okay, here's what's going to happen in Deadpool 3 that's going to explain how the mutants come into the MCU. And they started doing the music going over it and talking, and they kept going and doing the fighting scenes and all.
Yeah.
Absolute genius.
Did you see marketing the one genius. With Ryan Reynolds and Rob Liefeld? That came out today.
No, I have not yet.
Yeah, you have to check it out.
I will definitely check that out.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either, but I haven't been on the internet today, so I'll have to check that out.
That is awesome. But yeah, there are some things that they're doing right, and then some things that we just won't bring up in discussion for tonight, at least, because we don't have that much time.
Well, you know what? I will say one thing to that, and it's sad that was the first time I've been excited about anything Marvel since Endgame. Personally. Just personally. Yeah. I mean, since Endgame, I haven't been excited about anything. I mean, a little bit about Hawkeye. I thought I was really excited for. And I thought it was good. It could have been about 100 times better, but it was good.
Loki for me was pretty good, but it just has a different pace. Like the entire phase, it almost feels like we went to the top pinnacle and now we got nothing. So we're going to come back down and build you back up. You can't do that. You have to kind of, go to a halfway point or something, not all the way down to the bottom of the mountain.
And we're going to build you up with low tier characters, and we're going to get rid of all the A-list characters, but Thor. Yeah.
I really thought they were going to go West Coast Avengers next.
Yes.
I was hoping. I thought they were building I thought they were going to build the West Coast Avengers on the Disney Plus, the way that they built to the Defenders on Netflix. Because it's like you got War Machine, you got Scarlet Witch, you got Vision, you got Hawkeye. I mean, you got U.S. Agent. I'm like, there is your West Coast Avengers. Well, I mean, the only one you're missing is Wonder Man, and they're now doing Wonder Man.
Right, and now they rolled those characters into Thunderbolts, a different version of Thunderbolts, and
let's not talk that, please. Because I'm sorry, that actor that plays Baron Zemo. I think is brilliant. I thought he was the best part of Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And the fact that they're not letting him do a superhero team and do the original Thunderbolts story arc, I think it's criminal.
Yep.
I mean, they should have brought Atlas in with She-Hulk, and they should have brought Screaming Mimi in one of the other ones, and then have the big reveal that these guys are really villains the whole time.
Yep.
I mean, they could have done it. I don't know why they didn't. It's like they missed an opportunity. It's like all their creativity.
Exactly. They missed an opportunity with Dark Avengers. They missed an opportunity with so many other things that are out there. I mean, there's not going to be any, what's his name? The Red Skull and, what's his name put together? Damn,
Vito.
What's that?
Oh, the actor that plays him?
No. In the comics. You know which one I'm talking about because it was in like AVX or something like that. But they don't have. They've ruined that now. The
Well, I
opportunity.
can tell you the biggest opportunity that I think was missed, the biggest one out of all of it, is when they did Black Widow. It should have been called Black Widow Budapest,
Yes.
and it should have been a prequel with
Yes.
her and Hawkeye and Samuel L. Jackson. And that should have been not stupid alien cat. That should have been how he lost his eye.
Yep.
And I mean, to me, that I don't care how they did it, but and actually, you could have actually added Agent Hill in it.
Yep.
You could have Coulson in it. It
Yep.
could have, it really should have been a very Shield-oriented movie, Black Widow Budapest, and saw how. I mean, and it should have been almost like a Band of Brothers, dirty, gritty war movie.
Oh yeah.
I think that I would have paid. I'd have probably saw that sucker 12 times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or,
I agree
or
with
at least, I mean, if anything, the first female MCU-led movie should have been Black Widow, and they should have put it out right after Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree on that. There was,
or at least before. It should have been at least before Infinity War. I mean, it's a prequel. You could have done it any time as long as it would have been before Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think out of respect, she should have had it first.
right, and they're saying they couldn't do it because, of course, 2020 threw off their schedule, and that's why it wasn't set up that way. But still, it's like if it
They
didn't
still
fall
filmed
in
it
that
after
window-
Captain Marvel.
Exactly. So it
I mean,
doesn't make sense them saying that just because of 2020, this is why we couldn't do this. That doesn't fly.
No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work with the facts. They filmed Captain Marvel first, and that was wrong in my opinion.
I agree.
And Captain Marvel, I mean, everyone's like, this movie's terrible. And I'm like, it's not really terrible. It's just kind of meh. There's nothing special about it.
Well, it was supposed to be the footprint for the next phase, which is going to be dealing with space and dealing with all that, which would have been great. Except number one, they didn't stay with that within the phase, and number two, that thing, like you said, it was meh. It wasn't actually anything that was just like my jaw was on the ground.
No, not at all. I mean, and people can say all the bad things they want to say about Brie Larson, but really, she's just very wooden
Right.
with how she acts, and that's really what it came down to. Is she doesn't emote,
Right.
and it just wasn't she wasn't a very good fit.
Well, especially when she's the lead star. I mean, and I compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew those characters.
Right.
Nobody. And it was a great story. And it was like, I think the biggest thing is when you watch a movie, and this is where Star Wars, I think, really messed up with the newer movies, is you want to care about the characters. When you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, in the first 20 minutes, I care about Star-Lord.
Yes.
I want to know what's going on with this kid.
Yep.
And then you meet Gamora and you meet Drax, and you're like, Drax is funny because he's not funny. I mean, he's, and it just rolls. And you're like, and then you're like, you care about these characters.
Right.
And, and it's like the new Star Wars movies. If you'd have killed them all, if they all would have died in the first one, never would have cared.
Yep.
It's just because you got to write a story to make you care about them. You got to be able to connect.
Right.
That's like the Moon Knight. I got to tell you, I thought that was one of the really good Disney Plus because I cared about it.
Right.
I thought it was tragic that they had a movie called Moon Knight and he was hardly ever in costume, but acting wise, it was really good.
Yeah.
Loki was great. I mean, Loki was brilliant as far as from acting standpoint.
Oh yeah. No, I completely agree on that. And then they've got, they keep throwing in little cameos or little step-ins of different things that are happening because it's all of the timelines, all in one place, so Loki can get away with anything and everything. Luckily, they didn't go ahead and just step over everything because that just would have been way too much. But they're talking about some of the stuff that's going to happen in Loki, season 2 that's leading up to Kang Dynasty, and that's going to be awesome how they come up with that if it's done right.
If it's done right. That's
the big F.
It's like with the whole thing with Thanos and the whole Endgame, Infinity War, stuff like that. I was like, where is Thanos simping for death? That's the whole point. That's the whole point of what he was doing this for.
Yep.
It wasn't because there wasn't enough resources and he was going to get rid of half the people. It was like, no, look, hey, Death, I'm super cool. I can kill every half the people.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, there were, and I understand, they don't want to go strictly by the comics because they want to put their, seal on things that are out there and show that they can do things differently. But there are some things you just really don't want to mess with too much, because now you have completely perverted that timeline, that multiverse, whatever you want to call it, and there's no going back. I mean, they created the multiverse saga simply to give them an idea that they can go back and say, well, this didn't work, so now we're going to go change it. Now we're going to go fix it over here. And that's going to get really to the point where it's like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I wondered how long it's going to take them to bring back Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Because that dude, he was making the MCU some money.
Well, I know.
Well, and I think,
yeah, he'll be in What If. He's doing the voice in What If of Tony Stark, which it has to be, of course.
Yeah.
But they're alluding to the fact that he will be showing up in another movie. The theory is he'll come back in a hologram form. He will not be back. He'll just be back in a hologram form that'll be in there, almost like he takes over as the AI instead of Jarvis.
Oh, okay.
well, no, probably be with Ironheart, because that's the one thing I notice is
Yes.
it's like they're getting rid of all the other characters, but they're like, they're trying to set up Hulkling. They've already got, Kate Bishop.
Yep.
You got Stature coming in the new Ant-Man.
Yep.
I mean, and it's coming because they had to separate. They had to replace the actors to get a bigger name,
Exactly.
which I hate that. I hate when they do that.
Yep.
I mean, I thought the actress they had play Cassie in Endgame was great.
Right.
And then here we are, we're going to replace her. And I'm like, really? But you can tell that's their next thing, which would be fine. But to me, that should be a Disney Plus thing, not a movie thing.
Right. I agree.
Because Thor: Love and Thunder, Natalie Portman was the only good thing about that movie.
What, Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yes. Man,
I will say,
my 7-year-old halfway through the movie looks at me and he's like, Dad, this movie's not very good. And I'm like, even
out of the mouth of babes.
Even the 7-year-old doesn't want to watch this anymore.
Well, and I think that I what's funny is that everything was a joke. It's probably one of the most serious contents you have. You have a villain that is a god slayer that has the power to kill gods, and you have an actor,
Bale.
and it's Christian Bale, who's like the king of drama and dark, and then you got Thor joking around. I mean, they're making jokes when the kids get kidnapped.
Yes.
Oh, let's do a play about this, and I'm like, it's so bad taste. And then, I will give you one other thing. I thought there was one other good thing. I actually liked Valkyrie in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because if you go back and you watch Thor Ragnarok, she's drunk all the time and cracking jokes and being a mess. And in this movie, it's like she's the serious one. And I'm like, what happened here? I mean, Don't get me wrong. I thought her acting was great. I thought, but it was like her and Natalie Portman was the only thing I was interested in. I'm like, if Chris Hemsworth wants to go do a comedy movie, go do a comedy movie.
Exactly.
And you can have some jokes in Thor, but I mean, to me, I really got the impression that I almost felt like it was a parody written by Dan Aykroyd. I mean, that's the best thing. And when people ask, what'd you think of Dark World, Thor, Love and Thunder, I go, I feel like it was a parody written by Dan Aykroyd for a Saturday night skit.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. Pretty close.
I mean, at least it had good music. I'm going to give it that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure that he probably paid James Gunn to pick it out. So, I mean, half that music was picked out by James Gunn because he had the Guardians in there.
Yep. Exactly.
And they didn't.
I mean, there are some things that are decent out there. There's some things you need to skip on, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Do not skip on 48 hours left on this campaign right here.
Oh, yeah.
Go over there to Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space.
All you got to do, if you can't find the link, just go and search for Ninja Bimbos, and you'll find number 2, and then there you go.
There you go. So go over there, take a look at it, see what's going on with this thing. There's a lot to look at in here. There's a lot of different options on the tiers, which is great. And if it kind of worries you that you're going to go over and you see issue number 2, don't worry about it. They have issue number 1 available as well. There's a tier package where you can get both of them, or you can do an add-on. Either way, and there is some amazing cover artwork. But look, I'm gonna bust a myth right now, real quick. If you take a comic and you open it up, there's a story and more art inside. I know, it amazed me too. So whenever you get this thing, you're not only getting one page, there's many pages that are in there that actually have stuff on them. So,
well, and that's also, and I'm not sure if Max said it before, the one thing that me and Max agree on that he was focused on is our cover A is always done by our interior artist.
Yep.
On any of the Atrocity Press titles.
Yep.
Because we want you to, because I got to tell you, Max told me that he goes, hey, this is how I ran it before I came in. And I was like, thank God. I go, because my pet peeve, and I'm not going to mention name Zenscope, it really drives me nuts when I see this beautiful cover and I open it up and it's just junk artwork.
Right.
Like I won't mention names, but it just drives me nuts. Here's a great, Michael Linsner cover. And then you open it up and you're like, they did this with crayon. I know they did. These bloody bastards wrote a comic with crayons. And they hit it with a Linsner cover. And and that's one thing. The other thing, I for the people that have backed this, we want to thank you very much. If you can't back it because you can't afford it, or you're backing a couple other comics, just do us a favor, spread the word, share it, let people know. That's the thing. Yep. If because the one thing about it, it's a great product. We take pride in it. It's great paper quality. We don't, chinch on anything. Nope. And it's already done. And like we've already said, we've already written up to, issue 5. Our artists are already working on the future books. So we plan on this going on. If you want to invest in something, you can invest in Atrocity Press because we are going to keep these books rolling. Next year, we're going to be putting out a book a month. And that's pretty much scheduled next month. Unless something happens crazy, our business plan is every month next year, we got Atrocity Press hitting Kickstarter.
Nice.
And it'll be it'll be a rotating thing, as I said. It'll be like Ninja Bimbos, Human Hunters, Mary Machine Gun, Human Hunters, Ninja Bimbos, Human Hunters, Mary Machine Gun. That way, you've still got 2 or 3 months in between it. That way, if you're not a complete Atrocity Press reader and you just like Ninja Bimbos, you're not hit up every month for a Ninja Bimbos book.
Well, and I think we've said before in a couple of times that we're going to slide in a couple trades in there possibly. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, hey, if you've already got the books, here's a trade. Or if you want to get caught up, let's grab this trade and get caught up.
Yeah. No, that is definitely great. And then being able to see the consistency in the books, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to because, like you said, that way you've got time in between to catch up on some of the titles that you really want to on there. But I'm telling everybody out there, if you get stuck on one, you're going to get stuck on the other ones. They have a way of pulling you in, and the storyline it grips you in a way that we're not going to go the NSFW grip by any means. It grips you in a way that it keeps your mind going and keeps you involved in what's going on with the storyline. So don't sleep on Atrocity Press. It's definitely a big one that's going on, that's having more stuff happening, and they got a lot going on right now, have had a lot going on. But right now, the campaign has got 48 hours. Jump over there, see what you want to go ahead and grab over there. If you have already backed it, I want to say real quick, use the power of that finger, the correct one, and share it. And that way you can actually share as well as back, and it gets the algorithm going. Also, one other thing, if you have backed it, go over there and let these guys know what's your favorite thing on the campaign, something that you really liked on there. Put it in the comments. That, again, will help this campaign to go ahead and finish out strong. Just some ideas to go ahead and throw out there with this.
Or if there's something you want added that we haven't done, just let us know, and we'll do everything we can to get it going. I was actually looking at everyone started talking about doing some metal cards. They wanted metal cards, and I found a company that does blacklight sensitive metal cards. And I was like, I think we might do that as a set.
Wow, black light sensitive cards, and we have a book with strippers.
Exactly.
Wow, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly where it's going.
there we go. That's gonna, yeah.
Next up are human hunters. We'll put vampire blood in the ink. Follow the old Kiss. You know? It's good enough for Kiss. It's good enough for us.
Oh, speaking of Human Hunters 2, the first issue was kind of it was a full-on action romp, but it starts getting dark in issue 2. It really starts to pick up and start getting pretty dark. The Atrocity Press fingerprints are all over it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing with human hunters, you know, the whole concept of it is kind of like you take your Universal Classic monsters and you mix it with like your Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, and we're trying to make it as real as possible. You know, how would these guys really interact? And that's where, I think that's all our titles. You know, we try to make it real. You know, in real life, you have that gallows humor. You know, you have that person that's a smart ass. You know, the sky is falling, you're in a flood, and I'd be that guy being a smart ass. I mean, that's just me. You know, and that's, you know, and that's what we try to capture, you know, with Ninja Bimbos. That's the thing that kind of caught us off guard. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, it's like we were like, it's going to be a comedy. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, no, it's action. Oh, it's dark. You know, it's got drama. And it's like, we really got a book that's got everything here. And that's the same way Mary is. It's got a little bit of everything. She's snarky. She's a smart aleck. You know, human hunters, you got a group of 5 different characters. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of diversity of have everybody. You know, and that's what you get, you know, with anything from Atrocity Press. We try to be genuine with what we're writing.
Yep. And make sure that the villains are not stupid. That drives me crazy. I mean, it's not just the villain standing there giving his big speech about what his plan is or whatever, but I mean, like, letting them go on accident or whatever. I mean, everything inside of an Atrocity Press thing is one of the things I always push is it has to logically work within the confines of the story.
Yeah. And it's funny because we catch ourselves a lot, you know, because like even the other day we were like, that wouldn't work. And we're like, well, no, you know, would she really do that? And we went back and rewrote it, you know, and there's times I'll be like, hey, we're doing this. And Max will be like, Johnny, no, that doesn't make sense. You're right. You know, and that's what's great about us writing with each other is, you know, we keep each other in check because there's certain things we're like, it's continuity too. I'm a big continuity guy, you know, because even with our artwork, it's like, hey, if she's holding a sword in this panel and the next one, she better be holding that freaking sword.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
And that's like when we produce this, what do we got? Like 3 layers of check between you, me, and Fernando. I mean, we got 3 of us that check every single panel. And it's got to be approved by all 3 of us. Or it doesn't move to the next, you know.
And again, that's that attention to detail. And that's what I was saying before is it's good that you have that because that's something that's the extra. That's the little extra push that's given on there that goes above and beyond. Amazing artwork, amazing story, you know, a talent that goes into there to make it a page turner, all that, but it has to roll together or else once you get it in your hands, you're just kind of like, okay, it's a book. It's nice. I set it over to the side. You don't actually want to do that. You actually want to pick this thing up and read it every once in a while because you don't want to read it just once and be done. You want to keep reading this thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I read the Human Hunters book at least 20 times, and it wasn't just because I had to do it for work. Maybe 6 or 7 of them was for work, but the other ones was just because it was such an awesome story, you know, and it was fun.
Well, and the new one actually, not to give it too much away, but we're trying to do real world problems, and basically the whole point of Human Hunters is they're hunting the humans.
Right.
You know, you got these, you know, creatures of myth who've been hunted forever. Now they're hunting the worst of the worst. So this whole next story arc is all dealing with human trafficking. And it's like, okay, you got human traffickers. What would they do with that? And that's what you get to see.
Nice. Well, guys, I have had a great time having you all here on the show tonight. We've had a lot to talk about, a lot to go over on this.
Yeah.
The campaign is live for another about 48 hours or just under.
Yep.
Make sure you go over there, check that thing out. check out everything these guys have. Get on Facebook, look up Atrocity Press, go ahead and get on their page. Make sure you follow as they go along with everything. And if you don't see posts going out there from them, you're not looking close enough, because they put out enough, promos and stuff out there to let people know what's going on. But in the event that you don't see something and you want to know what's going on, all you gotta do is reach out to these guys. They're incredibly easy to talk to. Reach out, talk to them, find out what's going on. They'll tell you. They won't give you spoilers, but at least they'll talk to you and let you know whenever stuff's coming out.
Yeah. And
if you got questions about the book, I can help you explain. I can help explain some of that stuff to you too. Why did they do this? They did it because of this. Oh, okay.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing, I've read, the Ninja Bimbos, God, I can't even count how many times. Same thing with Mary. I read it over and over just because we enjoy that world. It's a wonderful world to, immerse yourself in.
Exactly. Well, guys, thank you very much for being my guest on here tonight. If y'all will, I'm going to go ahead and drop you backstage if you want to hang out until I'm done. Let me do my closing statements, and I'll be back there shortly.
Yep.
And,
hey,
in just a moment.
I just want to say thank you for having us. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for giving us your time and letting us do this.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Why is that going? There we go. Okay. And we had technical difficulties right at the end. I don't know. Anyway, so we had a great show. We had some fun on here learning about Ninja Bimbos versus zombies from deep space. You have to say it like that or it never works. So we had a great time talking to these guys and finding out who they were, what they're working on, and their projects. But more importantly, we got to know kind of who they are and some of their likes and dislikes outside of the project itself as well. That being said, I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different. Tonight, I chose the closing statement being trust is the one word that I'm going to use on there. They both went back and forth on this, saying how much trust they put in each other on building this brand and this product and this legacy that they're putting together with this. That is a huge thing. Trust does not come easily. Trust is not something that you simply hand out on a whim. It's something that is reserved, and it is something that you actually have to deserve it. You have to work for it. It has to be, there for you to go ahead and take if it's earned correctly. These guys show that it's working and what it's working for on them. So the thing to keep in mind with this is when you're dealing with trust is how much are you putting into this to figure out how much you want to get out of it. That's a key term right there that goes with trust. Think about how that is said on there, and it'll help you get places on that. So again, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here and watching the show tonight. Don't forget to stay after the closing of the show here to watch the credits. Don't ever miss the credits. They're a lot of fun. I'm having a blast doing these. That is show number 95, by the way, in the books. I have 5 more shows, and I hit my milestone 100. I am more than excited about this, more than honored to keep doing this, and I hope that y'all will keep following me on this. So please, please, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, or go over there and please do, so you don't miss out on any of these shows and all the other great shows and things that I have over there. So again, thank you very much for being here, and keep it into y'all.
Welcome to my world of fun. Lions
And if you don't agree to be my guest on this show, I will be forced to stay longer in the Matrix and therefore bug you until you agree. Wasn't this the same character? He was in the Matrix, but he was also in this other movie, something about had a dog in it. Oh, delete, delete, delete.